Sometimes when you purchase a web hosting account, you have to do what's called a DNS update or change your name servers, which sounds like a complicated and daunting task, but it's really not. What this means is you need to point your domain to the web host that you're going to be hosting that domain on. The only time you don't have to do this is if you've purchased the domain while you're purchasing the web hosting account and the web host handles the DNS for you. Cloudwire certainly offers that option. But if you're purchasing your domain elsewhere, which you can do, or you can bring a domain that's already registered someplace else, which is fine, then you'll be in charge of pointing that domain to the new host. So for example, let's say I have a domain at GoDaddy or register.com, Namecheap, or in my case, I use one called Technon Domains, but I've purchased hosting at Cloudwire. Well, to point my domain to that Cloudwire host, I need to go to the registrar, that is the place where my domain is registered, and simply point it to Cloudwire. And the process is actually simple as long as you know where to go. So let me show you how I would do it at Technon Domains. So the interface at Technon Domains is very similar to GoDaddy, and all registrars are going to have a way for you to update your DNS or your name servers. And so while your registrar may look different, the basic principle is the same. Let me show you what I mean. In my case, I've logged into my Technon Domains account where I have several registered domains, and I'm going to select one that I'll be hosting at Cloudwire. In most cases, you usually need to click on the domain, which I'll do now, to go into its domain settings. One of those domain settings is the DNS record. So here I found something that says Manage DNS. And again, your registrar may get you there differently, but you're always going to want to get to something where you can manage your DNS record. And then when I do that, part of the DNS record are the name servers. So a DNS record can be a complicated thing because there's a lot to it. This is the entire DNS record. All we're concerned about are the name servers. Here where it says NS, that stands for name servers. There's always a primary and a secondary. And to update your name servers, you need to do that, at least in this registrar, they have a special place for it called name servers. Go figure. And again, GoDaddy works in a similar way. So to update my name servers, in other words, point them to Cloudwire, I need the primary and secondary name server that Cloudwire Hosting gave me when I purchased a web hosting account. So your host will do the same. They'll always give you at least two name servers, a primary and a secondary. And in this case, the change is obvious. I click the button that says change. And I'm going to customize, in other words, type in my own name servers, the ones that Cloudwire gave me. And they look like this. Again, you'll get these from your host. You'll type them in and click Save. Now, you'll notice that they didn't change yet. The DNS records, the name servers still show the old ones because it can take a few minutes. A lot of registrars will tell you to wait 24 to 48 hours for the resolve or the propagation to complete. But that's kind of an old concept. These days, it usually only takes a couple of minutes, sometimes 5 or 10 minutes. And as you can see, mine have already resolved. That's all there is to it. And now, when people visit my domain, they'll see the website that's stored at Cloudwire because the domain is pointed to the proper server where the website is stored. In the Technon Domains account, there are other ways to get there. You'll remember I clicked on the domain to go to its properties. In this case, there's also another method. I could click here and either go to the domain settings or go directly into managing the DNS. Whatever registrar you're using, they'll have a way for you to manage your DNS record and ultimately update your name servers so that you can point your domain to your host. And in my case, that's Cloudwire. Let me show you one more trick that most people don't know about when it comes to checking your DNS record. In other words, if you're not sure if your domain has resolved, if it's not pointing to the server yet, sometimes things can go wrong or you may have input it incorrectly, or it may just be taking too long. Well, a way for you to check that is to go to this website called dnswatch.info. There are other DNS lookup websites, but I use this one all the time and it's great. It's really simple. All you need to do is type in the name of the domain that you're checking on. So we'll put that here. and then click Resolve. I'm not going to change the record type. We're just going to look up the A record, and that will tell us what we need to know. We could specifically look up the name servers, but we'll just leave the default. And when we click Resolve, it's going to tell us where this domain is pointed. And there it is pointed to Cloudwire, both NS1 and NS2. And of course, it gives us the IP address because we looked for the A record. This is a great way to see if there's anything wrong with the domain. This is a good sign. This means that the domain is in fact pointed to the server that I pointed it to. Sometimes it will show as refused or nothing will come up. Maybe you'll look up a domain that hasn't been registered yet and you can't find anything. This is a great way to check those things. Just another trick for managing your domains and your DNS record. And fortunately, mine's pointed to the right place, cloudwire.com.